Welcome back to Exquisitely Aligned, where we champion you to express your truest self outwardly so you become exactly what the world is missing today. Yes, I know that's a big, bold ask, and this is the work I do. I'm here to help you see the beauty deep within yourself. Hi, I'm Gina, your life artist. Today, we'll be discussing the art of creating beauty, nature versus nurture. I want to share a little but mighty story with you. A story of a huge personal breakthrough I had. You see, for years, I felt there was like a wall in front of me. Something was blocking me and holding me back in my business. It was holding me in a space that I couldn't move from. And this space was tight. It was confining. It was kind of like being trapped in an elevator. And elevators and I, we don't quite get along. You can meet me on the staircase. So this wall was blocking me in my business. I wasn't reaching the people I knew I needed to work with. And I kept praying, meditating, and asking for answers. What was this wall, I wondered? Where did it come from? How did it start? You see, this never quite felt like it was mine. So like any good detective would do, I first looked at my husband. I know that's awful, isn't it? But I asked myself, is Mark trying to create a wall and hold me back? But then I realized he is my biggest and loudest cheerleader. I realized I had felt this had been with me for a very long time, but longer than my 23 years. Back then it was about 20-year marriage. I just didn't know. It felt like a cross I was carrying. Okay, I know I'm exaggerating a bit, but I want to get the point across. I knew it was more than just some baggage. And it was heavier and harder than anything else I had ever had to release. It was something I had been loyal to, as if it was a part of me personally. I had believed in this wall. I had faith in it. It was running in the background. It was always there and always holding me back. I realized I had felt this had been with me for a long, very long time. It was intimately and repetitively running in the background of my unconscious and my life. It was always there and always holding me back with great force. Apparently, it goes back a few generations to one of my female relatives. She suffered an injustice. A person used their power over her in an abusive, overpowering way. No, not sexually, but in an authoritative way, a way in which she was being smothered. She gave up parts of herself, which made her feel unworthy. And in her particular case, there was illness leading to death, which left her alone. And this cycle of injustice, not being seen or recognized for who she was and her gifts, illness that sometimes led to death, and finally being left alone or feeling alone in the world. This cycle was happening in my life. It needed to be broken. It happened when I was in my late 20s. You see, I was engaged to the man I felt strongly I wanted to marry. Yet intuitively, I felt something was wrong. I couldn't look myself in the mirror. So I questioned him. And he told me he didn't want me to date anyone else. That's why he proposed. Great for him, but that's not a reason for me to marry him. You can guess how quickly that wedding was called off. It happened again when my husband was ill. And it happened again when my father-in-law was suffering with diagnosed and documented Alzheimer's and paranoia. His will was changed by his two sisters, my husband's aunts, who he had looked up to for all these years. You see, his aunts wrote Mark and our children out of his own father's will. He's the only child, and they were the only grandchildren. It happened again when I was struck in the head with a very fastball while standing in a pool in Mexico. And that led me down a very dark path of health issues resulting in thyroid disease and a couple of new body parts. Yeah, 8 months ago, I had a total hip replacement. I won't bore you with all the other times this happened in my life. But let's just say these cycles in and out of injustices were mini trips through hell. And I'm not talking about just for me, but for Mark, our son Kai, and our daughter Sonia. You see, I was reliving this relative's injustice, misuse of power, not being seen or recognized, let's say, illness with possible death, and then the feeling of being alone or really truly being alone. I was reliving that over and over again, very intimately and repetitively. Yet I was rising and shining even with all these imperfections running in the background. Once I became aware of this, once I acknowledged it, once I cleared it, I became free, unblocked, free to be my truest version and vision of who I was born to be, Gina. But not to gloss over the reality. There was grieving and the many stages of grieving, right? I think it's denial, anger, probably then bargaining, I think depression, and then finally acceptance, right? Grieving because this had been a part of me for over 50 years. Yes, I went through all of these stages very quickly because I realized that although I thought this was part of me, my intuition was right. It truly wasn't mine. Talk about freeing. I felt like I lost weight. I felt younger, more vibrant. I felt like me again. Finally, I saw and acknowledged this as the blessing it truly is. You see, for me, it's a personal gem. I was being squeezed like coal does over the years to become my version of a diamond. I realized all of this was tied to my power, my purpose, and my passion. You see, this is where and how I discovered my 3-step strategic system for Exquisitely Aligned. This was my life's calling, my mission. It became crystal clear that I was to break this cycle and help others do the same. You see, my superpowers are I easily and quickly see the injustices that you are suffering or have suffered. Injustices that you face based on someone wrongly or misusing, let's say, their power over you. Because you know power is a good thing. You know that. Power is a blessing. Power is beauty. Power is love. Power is oneness, being connected. Power is divine. And you are being called to stand in your power and shine. I give a voice to the innermost parts of you and shine a light on what you can't see. The parts that are wanting to be heard and expressed out into this magical world. Because those are the parts of you gave up. Those are the parts you need to feel like yourself, to feel fulfilled. I help you recognize, reconnect, and realign with your inner power, your inner essence, your all-knowing, whatever it is you like to call it. The beauty that's deep within you. That beauty I call super fuel, because that's your superpower. It's where your divine power lives. And I see and stand 100% for the life that's waiting for you, your finest life. The one that's kind of just dangling out there, waiting for you to breathe life into it so that there is no death. Because I know you desire, and I believe you deserve, to be your truest self. And that there are forces outside of your control that want to hold you back. And I personally cannot sit back and let that life go unlived or die. I also know feeling lonely is not for you. Sure, we all feel different, right? Our whole life. And this leaves us feeling alone. But you're meant to be connected, intimately connected to your all-knowing inner guiding power, connected to your surroundings, connected to other like-minded, I would say, souls. Because this is where you'll be fully and positively supported to make your even bigger impact. And another gift I got out of this is I show you how to stand even taller and shine brilliantly for all to see, even with an imperfect life. You know you're here for more. Because when you are your truest version of yourself, you become exactly what you and I both see missing in the world. Now, this long story that I shared is to say, listen, when you become authentic, you might find that there is some very old stuff that you need to release the way I had to. And I don't want to sugarcoat. It's not easy. I want to be realistic with you. It takes some work, but the benefits are greater than the work, honestly. Because when you release and grieve and free yourself to be the truest version and vision of yourself, and let me make it clear that my story is a bit unusual as it was a genealogical block. Most of the times, the blocks or walls or things that are holding us back or holding us in place are not. They could be very simple things, something we started doing or being that we thought we should be, or it could be that we fell into a role that felt right at the time, but no longer works for us, right? For some, they may have been people pleasing and now they want to live by their own terms. And sometimes or other times, someone misused their power over us, squashing who we are, making us feel as if we have to be smaller and quieter than who we are ready to be now. Maybe it was something else. You see, I don't know what it is or was, only you do. But you can see how each of those ways takes us down a path that I would call leaves us feeling disconnected from who we were born to be, from who we truly are, from our truths and our desires. And sometimes you may need someone's help because when we are in the muck of the muck, like I was for year after year, decade after decade, it's not always easy to see. I was too close to my situation. And as you know, I'm here for you. I'm here for a select few like you who have been through something that changed your point of view. You may have found a part of yourself that you didn't know existed. And now you're ready, and I mean really ready, to live life on your own terms. And there's more to that. I'm betting you want to live an even more meaningful, or let's say fulfilling life. And maybe you feel there's a missing piece or two or three that you need in order to do that. I understand. Believe me, I do. And that missing piece, that's where I come in. If you are tired of wasting time figuring it out on your own, or tired of working with coaches that are cheering you on, yeah, you're close, keep going from the sidelines, instead of shining a light from your destination, let me know. I help you reconnect to who you've always been, like the story I shared about me releasing that genealogical tie. Because I want you to be the truest version of yourself, the version from birth. But as an adult, with all your years of life experiences, well, that's when you become exactly what you see missing in the world today. Let me repeat that. When you express that truest version of yourself outwardly, you, again in caps, let's say, glowing, Y-O-U, become exactly what the world is missing. And that right there is powerful. And sure, it sounds like you might need an army of angels and warriors to help you do that. And guess what? They appear for you. You won't be lonely. It will feel magical, because it is. Because you are not meant to be alone in your powerful journey. People will like what they see in you. They will feel empowered by you. They will learn from you. And then they are more likely to do as you do. They are more likely to take that courageous step into being their truest self. That it begins to, let's say, snowball. Oh, you know what? Usually I don't use that word because I'm already cold. It's cool here today. Let me change that, because I'm a visual person and I'm not enjoying that image of a cold snowball today. When you appear brilliantly, even with your imperfect whatever it might be, life, marriage, job, you name it, relationship possibly, when you appear brilliantly, even with your imperfect stuff, let's call it, you shine a light and light the way for others to do the same. Think for a moment. Have you ever seen this happen before? Maybe you're at the yoga studio, at your book club or country club, whatever. And there's this one person, a very grounded. When I say grounded, they're grounded in who they are, and they are unapologetically themselves. And when others are around them, they feel really good. They feel good for hours even after that person leaves. Have you been around a person like that? Or maybe you are that person I'm describing, and you know that because others have told you they feel really good when they are with you. I'm guessing that's the case. Either way, that's what I'm talking about. It's a positive energetic exchange. And this positive energetic exchange is exactly what beauty is all about. Remember, beauty is superfuel, and this is another example of how you can create beauty in your life, starting right now. Maybe you feel this feeling of being called to be more than what you are being at the moment, or than what you've been in the past. And that's both exciting and frightening. I get it. Maybe you have this internal knowing that there's more to be expressed by you, but you don't know where to start. Maybe you're tired of living on other people's terms and ready to live a more expansive and exciting life, more meaningful, richer. But you don't want to do it haphazardly. I understand. You come so far already. There's no reason to go rogue. Whether you're being called, whether you intuitively sense there's more to be expressed, whether you are ready to find that missing piece or two, if you want help, I'm here for you. Reach out and let's see if we're a match. If not, I will point you in the right direction, I promise you. Gina at exquisitelyaligned.com, or you can go to my website, exquisitelyaligned.com/more, MORE. Till next time, be even more exquisite.